This episode of The Rookie Hunter is sponsored by North Arm Knives. North Arm Knives are handcrafted and sold directly through a father and son team right here in British Columbia. Choose from a selection of outdoor knives, kitchen knives, and the brand new folding knife from northarmknives.com. They ship internationally and guarantee all their work. Callie and I use their products and give them our stamp of approval. Go to northarmknives.com. Hey guys, welcome to episode 23 of The Rookie Hunter. We have a special guest on the show today that I'm going to let Kelly introduce. I'm not going to say much more than that. You heard from the intro, we're now sponsored by North Arm Knives, and we're really excited about this. It's something we've been working on for a while here, but we wanted to have some time to try out the product and get to know the guys at North Arm, and they passed the test. We're super happy with what they've sent us. I've been using the 8-inch chef's knife. It's the Alder knife, and Kelly has been using their Lynx outdoor knife. Both of them are fantastic, extremely sharp, and as long as you take care of these things, they're going to last forever. So good gift ideas for anybody out there. Maybe something for your wife, maybe something for yourself. Go check them out. It's northarmknives.com. If you're listening from the States or anywhere else, they do ship internationally. And one thing to keep in mind is that our dollar is terrible. So if you're in the States, you're actually going to save some cash by purchasing through Canada. And we would love to see you guys support a British Columbia company because that's where we're from too. So once again, check out northarmknives.com. Anyways, I'm going to leave it at that. We do have a pretty exciting interview happening next week. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it's lined up. Hopefully nothing changes. But look forward to that one. So you know what to do. Sit back, relax, crack a cold beer, and enjoy episode 23 of The Rookie Hunter. Nice. So we might as well introduce ourselves. Kel, I don't think we've introduced ourselves in the last 15 episodes.
No.
So for those that don't know, my name is Mike Peterson.
Kelly Molnar.
And we have a special guest today. Kelly, I'll let you do the introduction.
Yeah, so the guest today is my father-in-law, Randy.
I've been called worse. Special's good.
Yeah, so, we talked about some stories in the past and kind of how we got into hunting and the fact that Randy's been hunting his whole life. And I've known him for, I don't know, how many years now?
Since
12.
you married my daughter and a couple of years before that.
Yeah, probably like 12
right.
years anyway.
Yes.
Never mentioned hunting the whole time.
Well, it's only because you've just gotten into it in the last few years.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the beauty of this episode is Kelly and I have only got 2 years of experience, and we've already got a lot of stories between the two of us. And Randy, when did you start?
Well, actually, coming from Saskatchewan, and I guess standing behind the steering wheel of the old 62 Pontiac, trying to get out to shoot some ducks and geese with my father and my father-in-law, or my stepfather, at the time. But, I guess since I was being about 12.
So you pretty much got a lifetime of stories and experience and all kinds of good stuff that you can share with us.
Yeah, or you can write a book.
That would be the best idea. I think I do better talking than typing.
So when did you come over from Saskatchewan?
When I was about 6 to BC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so the hunting started in BC.
Well, pretty much, like I say, all I remember from Saskatchewan is I would have to drive the car because my dad and his buddy were trying to push us out of the gumbo. And I was working the gas pedal.
Yeah.
And the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Just to get us through that muddy section.
Yeah.
But as far as myself shooting stuff, it was when I was 12 years old, I shot my first deer. And it's just progressed from there into our wildlife clubs and all our hunting experiences since. With hunting partners, that takes quite a few years to get a good one.
Yeah, for sure.
And stuff like that. And
yeah.
Guys you'd want to hunt with year after year. But yeah, it's been a good haul so far. I'd rather ride the quad now than have an elk or moose riding me, trying to pack it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know how that feels now. I can imagine it's not something you want to do forever.
No, it gets tough.
Yeah.
It is tough. Yeah, we were saying with the elk we got this year, like to do that with less than two or three people would be a feat in itself.
Yeah, and we only had about a kilometer probably of distance to cover. It was rough terrain, but man, if we had less than 4 guys,
Yeah.
that would have been a struggle and a half.
Yeah.
It was hard enough with that many guys, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So did you go from Saskatchewan right to the Kootenays?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Right
most
to the Kootenays, and pretty much been there ever since. And it's many trips back to Saskatchewan now, but the Kootenays pretty much is everything we'd like to do outdoors wise,
yeah.
and close comparably, as far as if you want to go in the mountains or you want to find some flat land, or you pretty much can go skiing in the morning sometimes and then golfing in the afternoon, different times of year. But as far as hunting, it's the same thing. You can find some wetlands to go for your migratory game birds, or find your elk, moose, and deer, and fairly close.
So Randy, we've seen like some pretty amazing country just in these short 2 years. So I can only imagine the kind of places that you've been in. I think we want to narrow it down to a couple of different hunting stories from you, because I know you got lots. But are there certain areas that you've traveled to that have sort of, stick out as the top spots, or something that was, where the scenery was absolutely stunning, more or less outside of the Kootenays? Like, have you been up northern British Columbia, or any spots like that stand out to you?
Yeah, as we're working and raising our families, and about every second year, my partner or partners, we'd drive up to northern BC and get ourselves a plane, and depending on how much gear and how many guys were going, it could have been a Cessna, a Beaver, or an Otter.
Right.
And fly into different areas. Up along the coast, Spatsizi Plateau sticks out because we spent a few years up there, going up and looking for caribou and big moose, and different areas for sheep and goat as well. Mm-hmm. And there's many of those stories, and some good, and mostly all good, but beautiful country I'll probably never hike up to again.
Right.
Getting older now, but my mind's still there. But I can make it up there, but like I say, we're not going to be packing anything out too far anymore. But
Well, you can bring us along. We'll do all the work for you.
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great. But like I say, it just depended on how much gear you had, and
Yeah.
if you did shoot one of those northern moose, it was like almost an extra plane flight out just
Yeah, I
to get the
bet.
meat out and stuff.
Yeah.
Let alone the antlers didn't fit too well, and we'd fly up to different places where we'd just have rubber dinghies to paddle across lakes. Back in the day, before they'd let us strap a canoe onto above the floats of the plane, which was like a Cadillac. You could cover a lot more distance and ground and country
Yeah, I bet.
with a canoe than you could one of those little rubber dinghies with the plastic paddles.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Have you ever done any hunting outside of BC in the States or anything like that? Or
Well, just provincial-wise, not down the States, Alberta,
Yeah.
Saskatchewan, of course,
Right.
for deer and migratory game birds mainly. Yeah. Some of those trips are lots of fun.
The bird hunting is something that Kelly and I haven't really got a chance to do, other than grouse, obviously, but migratory game birds, probably. Well, it seems like it'd be a lot of fun. Is that something you still get out and do, or?
We hunted the Creston area here for years in the flats there. And it wasn't a major flyway, but we would have all the geese and ducks, and we had pheasants as well.
Right.
But being from the prairies, the older guys in the family would always take us young guys back there. We would go for Hungarian partridge and or pit in for geese, and usually get all the ducks you want. So it was lots of fun seeing where the geese were coming in and out of
Right.
the fields, and then you'd go in and pit in and throw your decoys out and be there in the morning and in the evening and stuff. Lots of fun that way.
Yeah,
So you got to get all the decoys out before light, kind of thing.
Well, he would see where they're coming off or off the water and into the fields. So when they were gone, that's when you would go in and set up for when they were coming back off the water.
Right.
And you're out in the stubble. There's not much to hide behind out there, so you'd have to dig these big pits or throw up a blind, of course.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Something we should probably shoot to try for.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think it's just the finding the spot to do
Yeah.
it. Like, I don't know if the Okanagan area is like a big migratory game bird type hunting area, but
Well, it seems that more and more things are changing, that some of the migratory game birds hang around all year now. As long as they got open water and feed,
Right.
yeah, there's
they're not
geese
heading
everywhere.
south, and they're creating problems. Lots of people are complaining because
Yeah.
on their lawns and their yards and businesses, there's crap all over the place.
Yeah. Global warming.
But you got to walk your dog, and you got to pick that up, don't you?
Yeah.
I know geese have become a pretty big problem here in Kelowna. Like our city park is just covered in goose shit, and
Yeah.
so I could see how people are starting to get frustrated with them. But I think a lot of those geese stick around for the whole year, and even like red-winged blackbirds and stuff, they're starting to hang around all winter time now. So I guess as long as they've got something to eat on and it's warm enough, then
Yeah.
that's all they need. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously things are changing that way, and something in the big picture is not the same as it used to be years ago, whether it's the global warming or whatever's coming into play there.
Yeah, and we had Jesse on the show a while back from the BC Wildlife Federation, and he was talking about how, some of the funding issues and the challenges they're facing, and he's trying to educate people and get them on board with conservation and all that. So the number of hunters are going up, like the youth and the female hunters. So we're trying to get into that as well, trying to send some positive messages out there and get people to pay attention to what's happening.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, things progress naturally, but have you noticed a big difference in populations from when you started as a teenager to now?
As far as our
As deer and
all our ungulates and
Yeah.
stuff like that, though, definitely,
yeah,
for sure. And because we used to have a lot of participation in our different wildlife clubs, and doing spring burning for our winter ranges, and used to watch 150, 200 mule deer in the spring right up above my house.
wow,
Now I'm lucky if I say 5.
Yeah.
And the same as the whitetails through our area in the Ponderay Valley and stuff. Used to be able to drive through there in the spring and see 200 or 300, 400.
right,
Or go up above and glass down onto our winter ranging and see hundreds of deer. Now you see 10.
wow,
The numbers aren't there anymore. It's, I guess, you're mining exploration, logging,
Yep.
access. Everything's opened up, and we're our own worst enemy that way.
yeah, true,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
But they try and conservate. I don't know if that's a word.
Conservate.
sure. We'll let it pass.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So, but as far as we think we're doing good, whether it be the fish in the lake or the elk or the deer or the moose and hunter opportunity, whatever you want to say, I don't understand some of the regulations they bring out as far as trying to harvest X amount of animals. Limited entry for years, which was a good thing, a bad thing, but just like we don't have the numbers, and it seems like they want to kill off all our animals now so they can go and rape and pillage as far as logging or mining or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Pretty soon we won't need our firearms
Yeah.
or our bow and arrows
Yeah.
if there's no animals to go after.
Yeah. Well, hopefully with numbers of hunters increasing, hopefully it increases awareness, and the younger populations can help to try and preserve numbers and set things in the right direction. I don't know.
Yeah.
It feels like it's a good time right now, just the way hunting is perceived in some ways anyways. But I guess time will tell, and caribou is kind of the main thing that we're really seeing disappear. So hopefully other ungulates don't follow that trend, but
Yeah.
Deer
Well-
populations up around here seem pretty healthy. And you were talking about you guys used to do burns back in the day, and we've seen how important that is to mule deer populations around here because
Yeah.
the areas that were burned in, what year was that, 2003? The big fires that came through here are just full of mule deer. So you really realize the importance of allowing some of these burns to happen, even though it's, devastating when
Yeah.
homes and stuff go down, but it is part of, nature, and it has its purpose. So
Yeah.
these things you don't realize when you're not involved in conservation and, understanding how all these things work together.
It seems like all the people in BC are doing the biologists and BC, like those type of folks are trying to do the best they can with what they have, but they set all these limits, and some of it's kind of reactionary. So they'll go a certain period with a certain limit, and then if something changes radically or the population start declining big time, it takes a while for them to realize it, and then they'll switch everything back. But in some cases, it might be a little bit late, right? But we're hearing that in other areas, like in the States, where they have tons of funding, like every weapon you buy, it's taxed and it goes to conservation, all that kind of stuff. And their programs are much more, like they can tap into what's actually happening a lot faster, it seems. But I don't know.
We definitely need the younger generation coming up to get involved as well.
Yeah.
Is what I don't see in a lot of areas where they, our hunter numbers, you say they're coming up right now, but they're nowhere near what they were 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Not even close. But definitely need the younger generation come up to get involved. And the more you can do that, that can only, instead of, sitting there looking at your iPad and your
Yeah.
stuff like that. I haven't shot too many animals sitting in the living room. So
Yeah. The deer hunter app.
Well, and we were brought up on it. It's just, if it wasn't for my grandfather, my dad, and the rest of the family, it was kind of a natural progression thing.
Right.
We just thought that was the thing to do rather than hang around the pool hall or break into parking meters downtown and stuff like that.
Yeah.
True.
It's through doing this podcast, Kelly and I get a lot of feedback, and guys send us emails and stuff like that. And it's interesting to hear that a lot of guys around Kelly and I's age, which is in their 30s, and even up into their early 40s, are just starting to get their licenses. So I think people are starting to switch back to this type of lifestyle. And I think for those reasons that you mentioned, is that like a lot of us are getting further and further away from spending time outdoors because of, iPhones and
When you're busy
video
and so
games and
lifestyles
shit.
have changed for sure.
But I think guys are trying to get that back into their life because it is important. It's an important thing to have in being outdoors, and knowing where your food comes from and all that kind of stuff has really started to resonate with people. So
It certainly is when you can go to the deep freeze and pull out a nice piece of salmon or halibut or cod you've caught in the ocean, or your elk burger, your moose steak.
Yeah. Well, you've done a lot of that too, right? Going to Vancouver Island and offshore fishing.
Oh,
quite
yeah,
a bit.
I'm lucky that way now.
Yeah.
Up in the Charlottes or Hideaway, I guess now,
Yeah.
and along the ocean. We'd go and spend a week or two down there and catch the day every day and
Yeah.
get your own everything. Crabs, prawns, just whatever, and just feast. It was just
Yeah. Yeah, that's
yeah,
good.
that sounds right. Not a bad way to spend a couple of weeks.
Yeah. We're pretty lucky to live in this province.
We
There's
are.
so much biodiversity, but
Yeah.
in terms of big game, you've probably hunted almost everything, eh?
Pretty much so. We got into, as far as our rifles and reloading for years, and then archery hunting for the last 25 years now. We're always been meat hunters, but we've definitely all ended up shooting a nice head and getting some into the Moon Crockett and the Pope and Young archery-wise.
Nice.
Stuff like that, but we're normally just meat hunters.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always nice to get a nice set of horns or antlers.
Yep.
Yeah. But so as far as the moose, deer, elk, and sheep, goat, mainly those members of the deer family. And
You've hunted caribou.
oh yes, Yep.
Bear.
Yes. Got some of those on the wall downstairs,
Yeah.
which some people don't appreciate. But if you're a hunter in there, I think it's a tribute to them myself. They look very nice up there as long as
Yeah.
it's a good mount. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, even when I wasn't a hunter and you got some animals in the basement, I never thought it was offensive. I always just thought it was kind of mysterious.
Right.
But yeah, and then as you get into it, it's like each of those things has a story, right? Like it's almost more for yourself to put it on the wall than for anybody else.
Yeah, and it's a
In a
true
way.
story. And
Yeah.
then over the years, it was like, whether it be a bowling trophy or this trophy, if you happen to get a trophy for your going out and getting your game and being
Yeah.
members of different clubs for years and volunteering, and that's kind of a little notch in your belt too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I was just having this argument with somebody the other day about hanging stuff on your wall or whatever, and it's really hard to explain to somebody who hasn't gone out and spent all that time and had all those experiences. And it's not like it's not meant to be like you gain something over that animal. It is an accomplishment, but it's all the the struggles and all the effort and all the practice and even the time and the money and everything that you spent to make that hunt happen. And you want to remember those things, right? Because memories quickly fade away, but it's nice to have something up on the wall to remind you of that hunt and the people that were there and all the effort that went into it.
And in most cases, you're not going out there trying to find the biggest elk, right? Like the one we got this year was pretty big, and it'd look awesome on the wall, but it's not like we went out there looking for it. It just happened to, we got the elk, but it was a really big one, so it makes it even better.
Yeah.
The experience is great.
For sure. I mean, you're having just as much fun grabbing the 22 and shooting a few grouse.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And cleaning those and stuff like that. And just the thrill of being out there. And because there's so many people living in the concrete jungles and the tree huggers that don't even see the stars at night.
Yeah, for
All
sure.
we see is the lights of town.
Yeah.
And they don't understand what it's like to go out there and camp and catch your own fish and shoot your own game and eat it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sustenance-wise and stuff like that. So they can't get a grasp of it. All they see is, oh my God, look at those guys just killed that animal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now they're hanging it on their wall.
And then they go down to Milestones and have a steak or whatever the restaurant is.
They have no idea where that came from.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
It's
Yeah.
I don't think we can ever win that argument unless you can convince somebody to come out and experience it for themselves. You can't really explain it to people. So
No, for sure. They can watch it on TV all they want, and they go, oh my God, look at them walking around in a foot of snow. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that.
Yeah, and a lot of those, a good majority of those hunting shows don't really do the best job of showing the realistic side of hunting. They make it look like you just go out there and you find something, shoot it. It's no
Well,
problem.
I know I don't like myself some of the hunts as far as, I don't want to say basketball or ball players or whoever going on some of these guided hunts onto private deer farms, and they drive
there's a
them out.
hockey player that got into trouble lately with the grizzly bear. Remember that one?
Well, yes, I remember that story. Yes, you're right. But as far as, that's not real hunting to me either, where they drive them out to the tree stand that's been up there for 25 years, and they feed these deers, and they all have numbers. There's Buck 148, and he's going to come out at 20 after 5 this afternoon. So just sit tight. By the way, here's a television and the beer fridge, and sit up here and in your lawn chair and wait for him to come, and then you just shoot him. That's not hunting either, but they get all excited about it and think they've really done something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, on the one hand, I guess if that deer is eating healthy and they're eating that deer, it's kind of like they're going to the grocery store. In that sense,
that's
it's
great
okay.
that way, but
as far as hunting goes,
that's
not
not
real hunting.
No.
It's not your real big hunter and gathering experience.
No. No, and I feel like you have to suffer a little bit to get these animals home. It can't all be fun. You got to sweat.
Well, sometimes easier the better that way. But
we're still young, though.
Well, that's good. Yeah, we used to walk up one mountain and down the other, and then spot something on the second mountain and go up there and shoot it and spend 2 days trying to get it back close to camp.
Yeah.
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 So like top hunts in BC, you would say up north.
Well, those have all changed also. And it depends what species you want to go for also.
Yeah. Mike and I haven't gone for moose yet, but we just haven't really, we haven't gone up north where you don't need to go into the LEH. So we've been trying to work the LEH, but we haven't had much luck.
No luck.
Yeah, our kootenays have population suffering now, but they're talking about decreasing the amount of permits, limited entry permits here
Mm-hmm.
in the kootenays. And even up north now, fellas are going further and further. But that's changing also. But you can still, if you want to fly into a small lake in northern BC there, you don't even have to go that too far north. We used to think Prince George was north 30 years ago, 35 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that's nothing.
Yeah.
But sure, same idea. Do your homework, and there's still areas you can go and find a moose. Whereas we could always just go to the kootenays and find our moose and elk and deer. It was quite easily years ago, but things are changing. Well, yeah.
We've seen a few around up here, but
Yeah, a couple
only a
out.
handful. Moose.
Oh,
Yeah. We've seen some cow elk.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I saw one bull at the beginning of the season there.
It's like a raghorn or something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely not like the deer populations, that's for sure. And the opportunities to hunt them aren't that great here. So we're trying for the caribou, but that didn't really pan out for us. So we'll have to find a different area for moose next year.
The caribou region.
Yeah, that's where we're applying for our limited entry draws. So
Right.
no
And
luck.
It's always better if you can find some local people too, knowledge-wise, and pick their brains and
Yeah.
before you get up there. And
Yeah, the cabin actually just sold officially. The guys took possession of it on the 1st of this month, but we had a cabin up near 100 Mile House in that area. So I know the area really well, and I guess we could always take Garrett's wall tent up there. And there's a lot of moose up in that area. So maybe we'll still do that because it's nice to have a grasp of the area and where we could go rather than just going into something blind, which is what we did in the Kootenays. That worked out okay, but
That wall tent's awesome too.
It is.
I love those things.
pretty comfortable once
Yeah.
you get them all set up and the wood furnace going in.
yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah. It's like a sauna in there.
40 degrees, playing crib with just your underwear on. It's like
Pretty
-5 outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be sleeping on the top bunk.
Yeah. Well, that was Mike.
Yeah, I was sweating my bag off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Better than being cold, though. I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least in that way, with that wood heat, a guy can go out and get his gear wet and hang it up and
Yeah.
have it dry for the next day.
Yeah, that stuff was dry in no time.
Well, that
Yeah.
brings up another, like the whole hunting clothing aspect. Like you've probably seen, you guys hunt with wool back in the day, and now
Well,
it's totally changed.
Good thing we were a lot stronger because we had big wool pants and wool long underwear and big wool socks and
Yeah.
our big wool jackets we'd put on our packboard while we're hiking. But you'd have X amount of layers on the lighter stuff. But when you sat and glassed or sat for a while, you put your big wool jacket on. But
Right.
and then once all that wool got wet, you weighed another 20 pounds at least. Especially if it started freezing or snow and your bottom of your pant legs about a foot up would get about 3 inches thick sometimes with ice
Right.
and snow. And
Yeah.
but you were still warm in wool.
Yeah.
But now the technology nowadays is so great. But used to cost us like $150. Now it costs you $4,050 to
Yeah.
gear yourself up with the new technology stuff.
Yep. Yeah, like one of those suits, you get 4 or 5 layers,
Yeah.
and you're looking at like $3,000 by the time you're done.
Yeah,
It's still wool, like the base layers, but it's a different type of wool.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got all your waterproofing, Gore-Tex, all on top of that.
well, you want something that breathes but still keeps the heat in,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, for sure. It's leaps and bounds, and since I got older and the kids have out of the house now, and I can afford to spend more monies on stuff like that.
Yeah.
The nice thing, I guess, is once you have it, and it should last quite a while. But it's the initial investment of buying all this stuff that.
Yeah.
So Kelly and I had to kind of buy it all over a couple of years here, and it starts to hurt a little bit. It adds up. I think Kelly did the math on what he spent on gear over the last couple of years, and
Yeah, I mean, you can get up to $8,000, $10,000 in no time.
yeah,
With your gun and your bows and your
I
optics.
was just going to
and
say,
your-
depending what toys you're buying.
yeah,
And that's not including ATVs and all that stuff, which we don't have, but it's nice to have those too.
it is. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Bree's going to love that.
Yeah, one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Well, in the bit of time I've spent with you, you've shared a few good hunting stories with me, and I'm sure Kelly's heard quite a few of them. Have you got one or two stories that stick out as being your favorites to tell the guys?
Well, it's funny how you start talking different stories and about being here and there, and something you haven't thought of for 20 years comes back to you.
Yeah,
You go, holy crap, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Just at a wedding a few weeks ago, it was a story about when I was up in Spatsizi Plateau with a partner, and we were out of the timberline, and we'd come back down in the timber off the plateau all day and spotted some nice caribou, and we didn't shoot anything that day, and came back down in the timber and spent the night under a tree with our little Prima stoves and our space blankets and our freeze-dried food and a cup of tea and enough to munch on, and then headed back up the plateau the next morning, but it started snowing like crazy, sideways, hard wind, and there's not much up there higher than a foot high. But we found one big rock and we hunkered down behind it till the snow eased up a little bit. We got up and started walking about 45 minutes later, and my partner, he was going to go up higher on the ridge, and I just circled about the same height we were on and walked around, and after about 20 minutes I looked up to see if I could see him, but all there was this big black wolf parallel
oh, nice.
along the ridge. I'm going, okay. So I took my rifle off my shoulder and checked my scope to make sure it was clear, and put a shell in the barrel and kept walking, and I'd walk and look up, and the wolf would stop. When I stopped, I'd walk and the wolf would walk, and that about the third time we did that, I was getting a little nervous because every other wolf we'd seen for a few days prior to that, whether it was 300 or 3,000 yards away, they were going the other way hard. But this one was kind of dogging me, so I lifted my rifle and shot, and the wolf disappeared. And about 2 minutes later, my partner, even higher up the ridge, he came over the top, and the wind is still blowing, it's snowing lightly, but he asked me if I'd shot, and I said, yeah. He says, what did you shoot? I said, a wolf. Where? I says, well, straight up towards you, basically. And so he started walking down. He says, where is it? I says, well, it was only about 60, 80 yards right above me here, but it wasn't going anywhere. It was following me. And it had just fallen into a little 3-foot plateau. It was such an angle, I couldn't see it lying there.
Right.
So that was fine. We got together on this wolf and got to work on it. I was skinning it out, and about that same time, fog and snow had eased up, and we spotted 3 beautiful big caribou.
Oh,
So my partner went off after those, and I had to sit and finish my wolf. So that's fine. I had agreed with him at that time. If I didn't hear our signal shots or his shot and signal shots within the next 3 hours, we'd head back down the lake trail and go back to our camp. Alrighty. So I skinned out my wolf, put it on my packboard, never heard his shots, hunted around, ended up hitting the trail on the lake and headed back to camp. It was getting duskier now, so I was making a little time and ran into a beautiful bull moose and 2 cows. But I wasn't shooting moose.
right.
So as closer I got to this moose, the more agitated he got and started breaking the bush and cutting me off. So I tried to give him a big berth and trying to go around him, but he kept kind of cut me off. Then I realized what his problem was. I got a wolf on my back.
Oh, no.
He's smelling this wolf. He thinks I'm a wolf. I'm going, oh crap, I don't want to shoot this moose. So I'm waving and running at him, and he's just getting madder at me. So finally I got around this moose and got back on the trail, and my partner was getting a little worried about me. It was dark now, but I could hear where camp was and how far I was away. And back in the day, we didn't even have headlamps. I got a little flashlight in my hand.
Right.
Stuff like that, but he'd made his tin can moose call, so I could hear him playing that back at camp. But that was one story up there, a little wolf story, but ended up getting a beautiful caribou that trip.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but
Sorry, I think you said at the beginning, what part of...
we were up in the Spatsizi Plateau.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure where that is.
That's towards the coast.
Okay.
Up on more north on the coast. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't been further north than Mackenzie, of all places. Don't ask me what I was doing there, but there's lots of BC to explore. Really, it's huge.
Well, we'd drive for 24 hours and then get up to around the Dees Lake area.
Yeah, my dad had been up there fishing and stuff like that, yeah.
So we'd fly out of that area into Spatsizi Plateau.
Wow.
And Editajan.
Give you a refill.
You got to finish that.
Oh, sorry.
So how often would you guys charter planes?
Well, like I say, once we got the kids older, a little bit older and stuff like that, but every second year we try to do a fly-in trip.
Nice.
Yeah.
How many guys would normally?
Two or three.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess you have to manage the amount of weight and all that stuff, eh? So smaller.
Yeah, you'd get different bush pilots. Some were more accustomed to flying in the bush and the little lakes and stuff than others, and
Right.
some were by the book and some were by the seat of their pants.
Yeah, some of those guys are a little crazy from what I hear.
Well, some of the trips, yeah, they would get very interesting, and usually you just have all your stuff on the wharfage, and the pilot would say, well, try and get it in, but I don't think you're going to get it all in. It looks too heavy, but we knew how much weight we could bring,
Right.
and all the light stuff would go towards the tail,
Right.
and heavier stuff towards the front. So my one partner would say, I want the fat guy in the front, but he wasn't fat. He was just outweighed us by about 50 pounds.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. To the point where sometimes the pilot would let us take the back seat out, sit on coolers, and have loaves of bread on our lap.
The good old days, eh?
Yeah. And then other pilots would say, nope, you're not getting all that in. Well, can we try? Yes. And get all in, and he'd check his floats on the plane, and they'd be an inch lower than they're supposed to be. And he says, well, we're not going to get off the water. Can we try? Because we knew from past experiences
Yeah.
that was okay. You didn't want to sink the floats on the plane.
Right.
We were within our weight limits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you had one story there where you were heading to one lake, and there was a storm, so you had to pick another one on the spot, kind of thing. That's a good lesson for anybody that's wanted to go up here and do this.
We were actually sitting in Prince George at the time years ago, and the weather was very inclement there, and we were a day and a half sitting there trying to get out of Prince George, and there was a couple other hunting parties that they couldn't get out because they were flying by sight. But it was that next afternoon, we're sitting in the airport pub,
I thought you might say that, yeah.
and then we got the call, blah, 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 Northern Thunderbird, binga, banga, boonga. So then it was all hands on deck and got on the plane, got in the air, flying towards our destination, which was Lower Blue Lake. And as we hit the valley, it was just black and lightning and thunder, and the pilot asked us, what's your second choice? Well, at that point, we didn't have a second choice, so pulled the map out quick, and how about Monkman Lake? We had never been into either of them, but let's try this Monkman Lake.
Right.
Well, that was fine. So as we turned out of that valley into another valley, had a tailwind. We went from 84 miles an hour to about 174. It felt like anyway.
Wow.
And as we're flying along, the one gauge in the dash up above his head started smoking.
Oh, jeez.
So he starts banging on it, and now we've got lots of smoke in the cab of the plane there. So he just cracked the door open, and let the smoke go out and says, oh, we can get by without that gauge.
Jeez.
We're looking at each other like, oh my God, we're going down. But anyway, we landed the plane and spun it around and jumped our stuff off of there, and he had to get going because he's got to get back before dark himself.
Right.
So that was the quickest unload we'd ever done at this Monkman Lake, and set up our camp, and ended up, I shot a Boone and Crockett goat while it fell down the mountain, broke an inch off its one horn. But it was a beautiful big belly, and we took, actually 2 moose that trip,
Wow.
and a grizzly.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when you come out with that many animals, how many flights?
Well, we had taken the beaver in, and then we just got an otter to come in and got us.
Okay.
Twin engine, and I was able to bring everything out.
Wow.
So was that pre-planned? Like bigger planes coming to get you? Or
No, but we have the option
Okay.
of letting them know.
So how do you let them know? Sat phone?
You have a radio,
Oh, okay.
an emergency type radio. Yeah,
Nice.
for sure. And sometimes we went and did not have our emergency radio because there were still other parties out with them. And we said, well, we had the choice, take us in. We usually went for 10 days. So once you were there, if you didn't have any contact, if someone actually did get seriously hurt, you were on your own.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Apparently you can rent satellite phones now, which is kind of cool, which would be nice to have if you're out there. But
I was looking into those DeLorme InReach ones, which are pretty cool. They're not actually phones, but they're like you can text off satellite. So I know you have a Spot Messenger, which we haven't actually turned on. Those ones are kind of preset messages where you just hit the button and it says something like back at camp, okay, or
yeah,
whatever.
exactly, yeah.
But the DeLorme ones, you can actually custom text to anybody.
The Spot one was my dad's, and it's great and everything, except you have to have a subscription for a full year.
Yeah, and the DeLorme, you can shut it off whenever you want. So you can turn it on for 3 months and then shut it off.
Yeah, that's great. Maybe
It's
we should.
$10 more a month, but if you're only using it for 4 months, then who cares?
That's the
Well,
thing, though. Yeah.
We all had the spots, and they were basically, you could computerize somebody at home, let somebody at home know, yes, I'm okay, and here's where I am, or hit the other button and no, I need help, and here's where I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, like send the chopper.
Yeah, but with the sat phone, we've been in areas where the valleys are so steep, you have to wait till you get 1 or 2 or 3 satellites
Oh, right.
to hook up, even before you could use the sat phone.
Oh, wow.
But normally, if you're up higher, into the mountains, and they work
Right.
99.9% of the time.
It's probably going to be when you're in trouble when it doesn't work, though. That's usually what happens.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be funny, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what about like close calls? Anything that the rookie hunters can learn from secondhand, whether it's a bear encounter or like what you do for that, or because you carry around a defender, I think, when you have archery, right?
Yeah, and normally back in the day, we'd take an old 12-gauge single-shot cooey and saw the barrel off it and saw the stock into the butt off of it and tune it up, and that was our one-shot defender for years. And yeah, there's been a couple occasions, but over all the years, we've never really had any serious bear problems.
Mm-hmm.
More a pain in the arse and chase them away type things, but
Right.
I can tell you my one story about up off the Salmo Crest and archery hunting in one of the only basins that wasn't frosted up too hard, and there was lots of berries there and lots of bear sign as well. Hiked up into a box canyon, did my hunt, and it was probably 9:30, 9:45 in the morning. Turned around, came out of the box canyon, got to the timber line there, and I was just going to start heading down. So I'd stripped down, put a couple more things on my pack, and threw my defender, which I had a belt made up for a strap, and threw it over the corner of my pack and grabbed my bow and just started down, and about a log about 12, 14 yards to my left. All I seen was these big shoulders, this head, and these paws coming over this log at me. And it was a grizz. So I'd dropped my bow, and I was trying to get my single shot cooey off the back of my pack. That wasn't working so good as I was trying to step backwards once and yell some profanity at this bear, but only half the profanity was coming out. And by the time now this thing's jumped at me once, it bluffed me again. It was probably 18 feet away from me, and just stood there and then realized what I was and turned and went back down over the bank. But about that same time is when I got that stupid single shot cooey off my shoulder and cocked it. And it was probably a good thing, because I think if I would have had it ready when that bear was 18 yards away, I would have shot.
Right.
But I didn't get a shot at it, and that bear, if it really wanted me, had me.
Right, right.
There's no way I could have got that thing off quick enough. I'd have been walking with it pointed and ready to cock it.
Yeah.
It would happen so quickly. But anyway, the bear went back down over the bank, and about 10 seconds later, my rubber legs set in.
Mm.
My heart's still pounding.
Yeah.
I'm going, holy crap. So picked up my bow, and I had the bow and the shotgun in one hand, and started hiking back down through all the berries. I had to go back down, cross the creek, up the next ridge, and to this landing where I'd parked my truck. And so now they're maybe a 45-minute hike out of there. But I was starting to flinch at every chipmunk in the bush.
Yeah.
Come on, you bugger. I got down to the bottom of the creek valley and just started heading back up to the last landing there, and a white-tailed doe had jumped. I jumped one in the thick bush there, and same thing. I thought it was another bear, and I was ready. Got back up to the truck, opened the door. Remember setting my bow on the hood of the truck, my Defender. I had the shell out, threw her on the seat there, and I opened my thermos. I got myself a cup of coffee, and I remember having 3 sips off it, setting it on the dash. I woke up an hour and a half later, sun shining. I was still door open. I'd just fallen asleep.
Holy cow.
I think the adrenaline finally drained out.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. So that was one kind of a story you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. You wouldn't forget that one.
Yeah.
Did you have to buy new underwear after that
Yeah,
one?
pretty much.
You ever had any situations where you've been turned around or lost or anything like that?
Well, I guess the first one would be when I was still in J. Crow. And myself, Jim Remazoff, Peter Fillingham went up Bear Creek.
Okay.
We were going to hike up to the lake. Well, we hadn't quite been through the bush that way yet ourselves. Well, we knew where it was on the map.
Mm-hmm.
So we took off and didn't have, I had our lunches with us. But we didn't make it back that evening, and it was slushing and snowing a little bit. And by the time we're coming back down, I says, well, this is crazy. We can't see where the hell we're going. So we made ourselves a little wick-me-up, and Jim lit a fire, and we're giving him hell for missing this grouse earlier with his bow. Peter had a 308, and all I had was the 22. But we were big game hunters.
Right.
Just going for it. We had our fishing rods with us and stuff. But anyway, we had to spend the night out there, but little did we know, before we started hiking up the next morning, the parents were all worried. They had the RCMP, the Horsemen's Society, the whoever looking for us. We didn't have any helicopters or anything, but later that next morning, there was the couple of shots. Peter answered with his odd 8 there, and we ended up hooking up with these guys. And says, do you know where you are? I says, yeah, we'll go straight down here and come right over the top of the house, down the mountain, I'm home. Oh, come with us. We had to go all the way back over this way, about 2 or 3 miles, and then all the way down to their vehicle. But we walked in the door, and all the women are sitting there. Oh my God, they're alive. My dad grabbed my face and looked at me this way. He says, oh, weren't kept crashing through the bush. Your face isn't all scratched up, so you're okay. I told him the story, blah, blah, blah. But the next day in the Trail Times paper, there it was, Randy Workman and Peter Fillingham, Jim Remazoff. Yeah, we found them. Well, way in the hell and gone up by Bear Lake there. They were really lost. Well, I got big raspberry at school over that for a while.
Did you save that newspaper clipping?
No.
No.
Burned it.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
No, well, then over the years, you get into some areas the Flathead Valley and here and there where you start getting into very thick timber. There's no landmarks and you can't even see the sun out of there. And the ridges will start north and south, and then you know they're going east and west, and you start putting a stalk or chasing something where you see this and you, wait a minute, you've went in a little bit of a circle, or, oh, Jesus, Lord German, what the hell, now where is it, Josh? So you start climbing a tree to have a look where the heck you are, if you're not familiar with the area, of course, and stuff like that, but yeah, nothing a little compass can't fix. You got to always pay attention that way.
Yeah.
As long as you got a little compass and a bearing, not like our GPSs and stuff we have now, but...
Yeah, you should probably have the compass ready just in case.
Mm-hmm.
The GPS sometimes, I don't know if I had it on the wrong setting. Like I had it on lithium battery when it was actually I had alkaline batteries in it.
Oh.
You can switch it.
Yeah.
But it died pretty quickly a couple times. So I think I did have it on the wrong setting, but if that happens and you don't know how to use a compass, then you're in trouble.
Definitely. We had the one situation where we got stuck in that crazy fog.
Yeah.
Luckily, we had a pretty good sense of like, either way, we would have either hit the logging road or the gas line, but still, it's not a good feeling when fog rolls in and you can't see 10 feet in front of you and you have no idea where north and south are anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's, not a good feeling.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Or if you're out on a lake and it's the same thing, the fog comes in and you can't see shoreline, you can't see 20 feet.
Right.
But you know you're out in the middle of a lake somewhere, and then you get a fish, and reeling the fish in, netting a fish, blah, blah, blah. But meanwhile, the boat did a 180 or whatever,
right,
or 90 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have a compass and have a bearing, next thing you know, you're fishing for rock cod, you drove it right into shore or something. You got to be paying attention.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But it's not a good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I've been hunting also where you're up in the morning, start walking and you're in a fog till freaking 11 o'clock. But meanwhile, if you would have went up 200 yards higher or 400 yards lower, you would have been out of the fog.
Right.
It's just a big blanket on that level of the mountain.
Right.
Yeah, that's a learning curve too.
Yeah. I guess the moral of the story is to be prepared for every situation. It might be a sunny, beautiful day when you get up in the morning, but come lunchtime, it could be a totally different situation that you're in. So expect the worst, I think, is the best thing you can do. Yeah.
Yep. Be prepared. So if you had to pick any animal to hunt in BC, if you only could hunt one animal for your whole life, which one would it be?
Is this a test?
Yeah.
If I could only hunt one animal.
In terms of taste and also just the thrill of the hunt.
Boy, oh boy. That's a tough one because we've had so many good experiences with different animals, but I still love, now, archery-wise, I like hunting white-tailed deer.
Yeah.
I sure do. Whether I'm in a ground blind or my tree stand, stuff like that. Plus, while I'm sitting there, I'm hunting whitetail, but I've had cougars, bobcats, coyotes, everything I've seen out of my tree stand. You're just sitting there. They don't have you when you're being quiet. And lots of things. As far as bucks chasing does or cats chasing deer.
Yeah, you get
Stuff like
to
that.
observe a lot from up there.
Oh, and all the birds, and of course the bloody squirrel who's been sitting beside you in another tree 10 yards away yapping at you for half an hour.
Yeah.
You feel like putting an arrow through him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
They're the noisiest animals out there, I think.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've got 2 white-tailed does between the two of us, but no bucks.
No bucks
Yeah.
yet.
I was going to go out with the bow this morning, but I couldn't drag my ass out of bed.
It would have been a nice morning too because it was kind of wet last night.
Yeah, there would have been snow up there, I think, so could have
Yeah.
followed some tracks around, but
I kind of bombed that idea too because I didn't you guys were coming up for the weekend. I should have said,
let
bring
me
your
know.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
we
I
could've all
thought
went up.
about it.
Yeah.
Because just open on the first, I'm thinking, well, I wonder if Kelly can get whatever. Just going for this dinner and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
we still have to make a little jaunt up there anyway to get a trail camera.
Yeah, we might, I don't know. I mean, depending on what the plan is, we might go for a walk or something.
I was actually going to go up there tomorrow to get a Christmas tree.
Oh, okay.
I haven't really said to Ashley that I was going to bring the bow. I might just leave it in the back of the vehicle and say, "Oh, look, my bow's here. Maybe I'll bring that along with us."
Yeah.
See what she says, because it's either sex right now for a whitetail here. So
And muley buck. But we have our
yeah,
mule
we
deer.
can't go for muley. So if I saw a nice doe or a nice buck,
Yeah.
I'd fire off an arrow at it.
Cool.
But she might not like that too much.
Yeah.
If we're going for a Christmas tree and we come back with a dead whitetail.
Well, make her drag the deer then. The tree's going to be a lot later.
That's true, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I got to get that trail cam too.
yeah, hopefully it's still there.
Kelly says there's a little bit of traffic up there.
Yeah, you never
People-wise.
know, though. Hopefully.
Yeah, this was the first spot we used to hunt.
If it's still... when did we put that thing there?
I think it was
September?
August.
Or August?
September, yeah, September.
Because, yeah, I think we were up there with the bows.
Yeah.
So it would have been beginning of September.
Yeah,
So if it's still there, there's going to be some photos on that thing for sure.
for sure, yeah.
Hopefully
and it's in a good spot, like photography-wise. I made sure this time there was no branches or anything because we've had bad luck. The two places that we put that trail cam, first one, there's branches right in front of it.
Well, it was okay until we had a black bear come, and he
Yeah.
was smashing the thing around. So we could see all the dates and stuff on there. So I think it was only up for a week, and then we see the picture of a black bear getting closer and closer, and all of a sudden the camera shifts and drops down. So he obviously smacked it around.
Yeah. And he
then
came back.
a week later and smacked it around some more, and then from then on it was in front of a branch. So every time that thing blew in the wind, we had like 1,000 photos of nothing, basically.
Although we had a huge moose walk by,
Yeah.
um,
Couple of whitetail.
some whitetail.
That group of cow elk, there's 4 of them up there. They
Yeah.
were on there too. So
And then we put the trail cam somewhere else, and we had the same problem. I think you took it up that
Well,
one time.
I think the problem that time was that the tree was thin.
Yeah,
So
the whole tree was moving.
Yeah. So every time.
Triggering it, yeah.
Yeah. So I think we've learned our lesson with setting the trail cam now. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Up in our one elk archery spot, we have a lick there, and quite often the elk themselves, with their tongues full of mud,
Mm-hmm.
they come and start licking your trail camera
Oh, really?
to the point where they put so much mud on it that it fouls up the camera. It won't work anymore.
Right.
There's that much mud on the sensor
Jeez.
Yeah.
and on the lens and stuff, and as well as bears. You go, what the heck was that all? Then you see it's just a big eye and a part of a head.
Yeah.
And your trail camera swung around halfway around the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bear.
Definitely.
So, and when you're tree stand hunting, you always bring up a couple bags. So you put them at like 20 yards, and you kind of
Well, that's just for myself after I decide I'm coming down. And, yeah, just a couple of gunny sacks stuffed hard with plastic. And I like to put them out at different ranges, and just so I know my yardages, but just to keep practiced up also. And just bring some field tips up there. And the animals don't seem to mind them at all, especially when it's cold and get some fresh snow on them. And whether it's an 18-yard trail or 26 or yard trail or whatever. And so before I come down, I shoot those practice tips at those bags, and I come down and pull them, and then put them at the base of my tree and take them up with me the next time. Yeah, it's just something to do and just keep tuned up.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than making a bad shot and then chasing an animal for half a day.
No, we've been there.
Yeah.
Don't want to do that again.
yeah.
But it happens.
It sure does.
Yeah.
Yepper.
Yeah. Well, I think we might have to get you back for Stories with Randy Part 2. Every time you come up here, we'll get a few more stories out of you, because I'm sure you got a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I start writing them in a diary or something.
I can't remember what I had for supper, but I can remember some of those hunting stories pretty good.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of hunting, yeah.
There's you mentioned the one story about you had your gun on your back and I think you were up on some cliffs or something. Then the barrel hit the rock on top of you.
Oh boy, that was goat hunting.
Yeah, so I think about that, like just awareness of your barrel, right?
Well, yeah. Now that you brought that up, yeah, that was scary because I was reaching to get a handhold to begin with. And just before I got my handhold, my barrel hit the face of the rock. And almost, I was at the teeter point of going backwards, which would have been, it was only about 80 feet, but I would have been dead, straight down.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Or couldn't I got my fingers on the crevice there on the rocks. Boy, that scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Also. And to this day, that same rifle has that little on the end of the
Yeah.
muzzle.
Especially if you're shooting a Magnum that has like a 26-inch barrel. Like a lot of my rifle has a 22-inch barrel, but if you add 4 inches to that, it's quite a difference.
Definitely.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I used to be 150 pounds of twisted steel. And I'm kind of 170, feeling a little heavy, but still the mind's there and the body goes, but holy crap. Yeah, I'm not a stealth ninja anymore.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Still getting out there. That's the important thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll get you back again next time you're up in town. We'll go over a couple more stories.
Okay,
I'll make sure I remind you to bring your gear too.
that'll be great. I'll actually,
Yeah, I was giving Kelly shit last night, by the way. I said, you're a terrible son-in-law. You forgot to tell him we were going to go hunting on Saturday. So,
holy crap, yeah.
oh, well, next time.
Yeah, for sure, boys.
Well, hey, we're rookies, right?
Yeah, we'll pull that card again.
Hence the name of the show.
So how long can we keep this name?
I think we're
Mike and I's logic was that technically, if you look at it from a certain perspective, everybody's a rookie hunter, because if you go to hunt a new species or you go to hunt a new area or whatever,
You're a
you're
rookie at
technically
that.
a rookie at that. So
True story until you get your grand slam and your sheep and your caribou and your moose and your elk and your deer.
Yeah. So Grand Slam sheep. Is that on the bucket list? I think it only takes $1 million nowadays, but
Boy, oh boy.
yeah, US probably.
There's a lot of...
Well, we could get 2 of them in BC, at least.
We used to be able
3.
to get a shoulder mount done of a deer for $250 or whatever.
Yeah.
And back in the day, we'd take green bear hides down to a certain taxidermist in Colville and build up a credit with him for when we took some taxidermy work down there.
Interesting.
Yeah. But then we had troubles at the borders and
Yeah,
as far as finished products coming home, and
right.
they would start assessing the values of. Wasn't worth a whole bunch when it went down there, but now it's a shoulder mount or a full-length bear hide and or
Right.
this or that. And, yeah.
Put an end to that, I guess, eh?
Well, it was all good. We
Yeah.
had the taxidermists come up and bring their displays also, which was good, but they didn't want to be bothered anymore either.
Right.
There's so much hassle at the border after a while.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
It's good while it lasted then.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Well, before we wrap it up, Kel, we should mention our new sponsor, which is North Arm Knives. Their website is northarmknives.com, and they're out of British Columbia, so it's pretty cool to, feature something on the podcast that's made right here in BC. It's they're out of Burnaby, and it's a father and son team. And I think those guys work like crazy by the sounds of it, putting these knives together, and they've got everything from kitchen knives to hunting knives and fillet knives. They've got like a pocket knife too. What do you call them? Is it like the flip ones?
Folding.
The folding knives, yeah.
Yep.
And they're, for the quality of knife, did you check out the links that Kelly had there?
Yeah, just where he cut himself.
Yeah. So Mike at North Arm Knives is going to laugh at this, but I picked up the links and I pulled it out of this case there, and I ended up just grazing my thumb, which was my own mistake, 100%. it's not too bad, but I can vouch that they're sharp. The steel, I can't remember the exact name of the steel. You could check it on the website, but
Yeah, we'll do
it's high quality steel. One of the best as far as value goes.
Right.
Cost to sharpness and holding its edge. So super good knives.
Yeah, we'll do a proper review of them next time. But if anyone's looking for a Christmas gift or something for yourself or whatever, they're sweet. The kitchen knife is awesome.
Yeah,
I've used it a lot already. So
yeah, it's nice to see products from BC support the province.
yeah, it's cool because it says made in BC right on the
Yeah.
blade there and that. So
and you can get them in wood handles,
yeah,
maple and alder and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
pretty cool. So yeah, we'll do a proper review and everything on them next time, but make sure you check them out. And they're on Instagram and that too. You can see sort of the machining process. They put lots of stuff up there. That's kind of interesting to see how they make these things. So northarmknives.com is where you can find them, and you'll probably hear us talk about them a bit more on more of these episodes. So thanks to Mike and what's his old man's name? Mike and his dad. We talked to Mike. We didn't talk to his old man, so we'll double check that next time. But yeah, we had a good chat with Mike there on Skype. So cool to talk to him. And next time we're out that way, we'll probably drop in and say hi and check out the shop. Be kind of cool.
For sure.
All right. Well, Randy, thanks for joining us.
Well, it's been pretty tough here holding this couch down and drinking our coffee out of these cups here. Tastes a lot like beer to me, though. But yeah, no, you're welcome, Mike and Kelly.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah.
Well, I could probably handle this again at some point.
Good. Well,
Yeah, we'll get you back in.
we won't make you write a book. If you just tell us all your stories, then we can transcribe them into a book for
Yeah.
you. So
we
do
can
that
call
way.
it shit my father-in-law knows.
We switch beers, Gal. What is this? It
Yeah.
tastes like ginger or something.
Yeah, so this is Whistler Brewing Co. Dark and Stormy Ale brewed with ginger.
Oh, so it was right.
Radical shift from the last beer we had, but
Yeah.
it's pretty good. It's more of a stout.
This would be good with the Vietnamese sausages that we made. They got
Yeah.
a ton
Well,
of,
Actually, guys, those were pretty tasty.
you tried them
Yeah.
out?
Yes, I did. Good effort on your first try on those.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good.
We thought like, the recipe sounded different, so we thought, oh, we'll try these out because everybody's had a million Italian sausages and that kind of thing. So do something a little bit different. They're pretty good.
Yeah, I actually like them better than the Italian ones.
Yeah, me too. And then did you try the farmer sausage and the pepperoni?
I just did
Nice.
last night, as a matter of fact.
Yep.
Yeah,
Not too
pretty
shabby,
good.
eh? Yeah.
No, pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll give you
anything
some
wild
of
is good with me because it's not 50% fat to begin with. It's kind of lean, and
Yeah.
I love wild meat. So
Yeah, can't go wrong. We've got a good looking freezer this year, so we have
Well,
to.
you guys tried some of the elk burger too, but I'm sure you got a ton of that stuff. But we had some lasagna at their place in the Goonies
Nice.
too.
Yeah,
Mike made a pretty good lasagna with the elk.
also, yeah.
that was my first lasagna attempt. Ashley always makes it. This time it was my turn to do it with the elk.
Yeah,
and
it's funny over
now
all
it's
the
your
years
job.
with between the elk and the moose and the deer, and when the wife is making spaghetti sauce or lasagna, blah blah blah, something wrong with it. I said, what did you do different? You use beef.
Yeah.
You get used to the
Yeah,
wild meat, but
definitely, yeah.
It does definitely taste different with beef, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
Definitely.
still very edible, but
Not as good.
At first,
not to myself.
I kind of thought that the like you have your normal cuts, and then you have the stuff you're going to make into sausages and pepperoni and all that, and then the hamburger was kind of the last, like the grind. It's just whatever was extra. But I actually like having a lot of hamburger because it's so versatile. You could put it in everything, and we were only putting 10% fat on it, so it's really lean.
Right.
I don't know. I didn't mind throwing another bag of grind, just making hamburger with it.
No, don't mind at all.
No,
Good stuff. Yeah, the burgers I made with that elk, man, whew, they were good.
I still haven't done that yet.
Yeah, do it. And like I said, all I did was salt and pepper. Didn't put anything else in there, and so good.
Didn't bust an egg or crush up some crackers or anything in it?
No, just salt
straight
and
meat?
pepper. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of do them.
Taste the meat.
Yeah, exactly. And
They
that's all
held
I
together
needed.
okay? and
Yeah,
stuff?
really good. Yeah.
Oh,
That's what I was wondering as far as like getting crumbly or
No, not at all. So, yeah, I cooked them pretty hot, just like seared them really good, and then I don't know, it was only like 5 minutes aside, if that, and they were perfect. Yeah, really good. So
Cool.
Nice.
yeah.
We should have took some of that out before we came down here. We could have that for dinner.
We should have brought a barbecue down here and
Yeah.
could hang out all night. Might need some more beer though. I think we're out.
Yeah. Well, we could add a jam too.
We could have, yeah. Next time we'll get a few more stories, a few more beers, and we'll end it off with a little jam session.
We'll bring the acoustic down, get it set up through the PA.
Count me
I
in.
can play some bass,
Oh, yeah.
and Michael hit the drums.
Well, that sounds too cool.
Yeah.
All right.
We might turn the mics on too. Maybe put it at the end of the podcast.
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, I think we got a plan.
I think we got one too.
You're right.
Good stuff. All right. Well, thanks again, Randy. You're welcome
Yeah.
back anytime.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah.